On the morning of May 12th, 2019, 32-year-old Hannah Whitfield was seen on security cameras exiting her small rental home in Cedar Falls, Iowa. She wore a navy jacket, carried a reusable coffee mug, and locked the door behind her as she left for her shift at a nearby insurance office. That recording would become a critical reference point because Hannah never arrived at work. By 10 a.m., her supervisor texted her, asking if she was running late. The message delivered, but no reply ever came. At 3:40 p.m., after multiple unanswered calls, Hannah's coworker and close friend, Megan Sturgis, drove to Hannah's home, expecting to see her car or signs she had returned at some point. What she found instead was unsettling. Hannah's car was still parked in the driveway, exactly where it appeared on the morning footage. Her coffee mug was inside the vehicle's cup holder. Her purse was missing, suggesting she had left the house willingly. But her phone was still inside the house, on the kitchen counter, sitting beside an unplugged charger. By early evening, Megan notified the police. Officers arrived at 6:12 p.m. and conducted a welfare check. The house showed no signs of forced entry or struggle. The kitchen was tidy, the living room undisturbed, and Hannah's bedroom appeared untouched. What captured the officers' attention was a single detail. Hannah's back door, normally kept locked according to friends, was unlocked. The officers stepped outside to inspect the small yard. Near the garage, hidden beneath the overhang, they noticed a partial footprint in damp soil. It was small, likely belonging to Hannah, but beside it was a deeper impression, larger, broader, not matching any shoe she owned. Detectives were assigned to the case the following morning. They began interviewing neighbors and collecting security footage from homes around the block. At 7:12 a.m. on May 12th, a camera from a house across the street captured a dark-colored pickup truck driving slowly past Hannah's home, turning the corner and disappearing behind the line of garages that bordered the alley. Detectives couldn't make out the driver, but the truck's headlights briefly illuminated Hannah's backyard gate. The gate moved slightly, as if nudged or disturbed. Investigators quickly learned that Hannah had recently separated from her long-term boyfriend, Kyle Hartman, a 34-year-old auto mechanic. The two had dated on and off for nearly 6 years. According to coworkers, Hannah ended the relationship in March after growing concerned about Kyle's temper and increasingly possessive behavior. She told several friends she planned to move to a different city by the end of summer. Detectives interviewed Kyle on the afternoon of May 13th. He expressed shock, stating he had not seen or spoken to Hannah in over a week. He said he had spent the morning of May 12th at his shop doing routine maintenance on a customer's vehicle and provided the name of an employee who could verify he was there. When asked about the dark pickup seen near Hannah's home, Kyle acknowledged he owned a black 2009 Chevrolet Silverado, but insisted he had not driven past her house that day. His tone remained steady, but detectives noted he avoided eye contact during several key questions. Meanwhile, Hannah's phone was analyzed by digital forensic specialists. Her last outgoing message was sent at 6:41 a.m. to a coworker, confirming she would be in early that day. At 7:05 a.m., her phone received an incoming call from a number not saved in her contacts. It lasted only 3 seconds, too short for any meaningful exchange. The number was registered to a prepaid device with no subscriber details. On May 14th, police conducted a second, more thorough sweep of Hannah's home. They used luminol to detect potential traces of blood or bodily fluids. The tests were negative. Fingerprint analysis around the back door revealed only Hannah's prints and smudges, too incomplete to evaluate. In the backyard, however, The footprint impressions were cast and analyzed. Hannah's shoe size was confirmed to be a women's size 7. The larger print appeared to be a men's size 11 work boot with a distinctive tread pattern. A break came later that afternoon when a neighbor 2 houses down reported something she initially dismissed as a misunderstanding. On the morning of May 12th, around 7:20 a.m., she heard what she described as a woman's startled yelp, followed by the muffled sound of something metallic striking a hard surface. She said it lasted only 2 or 3 seconds and then stopped abruptly. At the time, she assumed it was a domestic dispute or kids messing around in a garage. That evening, detectives obtained a warrant to search Kyle Hartman's house and property. Inside his garage, they noted several pairs of work boots. One pair, muddy with a worn-out tread, was collected for analysis. Kyle insisted he used them regularly at work and that any mud found on them was from his shop's outdoor lot. The detectives didn't comment, but continued their search. Over the next 2 days, dozens of volunteers joined organized search efforts led by local authorities. Teams combed through fields, parks, wooded trails, and drainage ditches within a 10-mile radius of Hannah's home. Drones provided aerial coverage of hard-to-reach areas. Still, no trace of Hannah appeared. On May 17th, investigators turned their attention to a man who had recently contacted Hannah through a home maintenance app. Gregory Vaughn, a 42-year-old self-employed handyman, had been hired in early April to fix Hannah's loose attic vent. Text logs showed he had messaged her twice in the last week of April, asking if she needed additional repairs. Hannah did not respond. Vaughn claimed he was simply following up for business and denied him returning to her home after the initial visit. But when detectives checked Vaughn's work records, they found gaps in his schedule on the morning of May 12th. Vaughn had logged jobs for the afternoon, but left the morning blank. When questioned, he said he was running errands and couldn't recall his exact route. Detectives noticed fresh scratches on his left wrist. Vaughn said they came from cleaning debris out of a gutter on one of his job sites. At that stage, Kyle and Vaughn became the 2 primary suspects. Investigators thoroughly examined Kyle's truck. Despite his claim that he hadn't driven near Hannah's house that day, microscopic plant matter found on his tires matched vegetation from the alley behind her home. Kyle argued that he had driven through that area several days earlier, but the freshness of the debris made detectives skeptical. Yet, no direct evidence linking Kyle to Hannah's disappearance emerged. His alibi from the shop employee checked out superficially, though the employee admitted he had stepped away multiple times throughout the morning and couldn't confirm Kyle's exact whereabouts every minute. The turning point in the investigation came on May 21st. A hiker discovered a navy jacket near a creek bed 12 miles south of Cedar Falls. It appeared weathered, partially covered with leaves and mud. Deputies recovered it and sent it for analysis. The jacket was confirmed to be Hannah's. On the inner lining, investigators found a small smear of biological material. DNA analysis identified 2 contributors, Hannah and an unknown male. Detectives returned to both Vaughn and Kyle for follow-up questioning. Kyle maintained he had nothing to do with it and allowed detectives to swab him for DNA comparison. Vaughn, however, exhibited hesitation. He asked if he needed a lawyer present before providing a sample. Detectives reminded him it was voluntary. Vaughn eventually declined, stating he did not trust the system. His reluctance raised immediate suspicion. On May 23rd, investigators obtained a search warrant for Vaughn's vehicle and home. In his truck bed, they found several work tools, a pair of gloves, and a folded tarp. None appeared directly incriminating, But inside a drawer in his garage, they found a prepaid phone identical to the one that had called Hannah on the morning she vanished. Vaughn insisted it was old and unused. However, records later revealed a brief signal ping from that exact device near Hannah's neighborhood at 7:04 a.m. on May 12th. Despite mounting suspicion, investigators still lacked definitive evidence showing Vaughn had taken Hannah. Without a confession or physical proof placing him at the scene, the case remained circumstantial. On May 28th, the discovery that would break the case arrived unexpectedly. A cyclist reported a strong odor near a remote trail off County Road 17. Deputies responded and found a shallow, hastily dug grave. Inside was the body of a woman matching Hannah's description. Her hands were bound with duct tape, and she had sustained blunt force trauma to the head. Despite the condition of the body, medical examiners determined she died the same day she disappeared. The tape binding her hands became critical evidence. Forensic analysis revealed a partial fingerprint impression embedded in the adhesive. It matched Gregory Vaughn. Additionally, fibers found on the tape were consistent with gloves collected from Vaughn's truck. Police arrested Vaughn at his home at 11:22 p.m. the same night. During interrogation, he maintained his innocence, claiming he was being framed. He offered no explanation for why his fingerprint would be found on the tape or why his prepaid phone pinged near Hannah's neighborhood. When detectives confronted him with the DNA results, his profile matching the unknown contributor on Hannah's jacket, Vaughn asked for an attorney and ended the questioning. Further searches of Vaughn's home uncovered Hannah's missing handbag inside a plastic storage bin in his basement, hidden beneath old paint cans. Vaughn's attorney argued that the evidence could have been planted, but investigators found no indication of forced entry or tampering in Vaughn's residence. On June the 2nd, prosecutors charged Vaughn with kidnapping, first-degree murder, and evidence tampering. During the pretrial hearings, Vaughn's defense attempted to shift suspicion onto Kyle Hartman, pointing to his possession of similar work boots and the history of their relationship. But Kyle's DNA was not found on Hannah or any related material. Furthermore, Vaughn's digital footprint, fingerprint on the tape, and possession of Hannah's handbag proved overwhelming. The trial lasted 9 days. Jurors deliberated for just under 5 hours. Vaughn was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to life in prison without parole. In the aftermath of the case, Cedar Falls residents expressed outrage at how a seemingly ordinary handyman could hide violent tendencies behind everyday interactions. A memorial was built at Hannah's workplace, honoring her life and the quiet resilience she was known for. Her parents, who lived out of state, attended the sentencing. They thanked investigators for their persistence, but spoke openly about the grief that would remain with them indefinitely. For detectives, the case became a reminder of how seemingly minor details, a misplaced footprint, a brief phone call, a hesitation during questioning, can unravel the truth behind a disappearance. The resolution provided answers, but it did little to soften the loss felt by those who knew Hannah. Her home was eventually emptied, cleaned, and placed back on the rental market. The new tenants never knew the woman who once lived there, but neighbors said they never quite forgot.